Body 24. Identified as James Byron Haakenson. James Haakenson liked to be called Jimmy. The young man ran away from home in St. Paul, Minnesota in 1976. His friends and his family were always quick to share what a great person he was. He was funny, good-natured, and he cared about others. He was also trapped in a home with 3 other siblings while his mother worked 3 jobs, and his father was drinking himself to death. The home was small, and it was crowded, and Jimmy reportedly yearned for freedom away from noise and dysfunction. His father had been floating in and out of the home for years, and as a result, his mother worked at a factory by day, a shop at night, and cleaned hotel rooms on the weekend. As a result of his mother being forced to be gone so much and support the family, Jimmy's older sister took on the role of mother when their mother wasn't home. The sister would explain how great Jimmy was, describing him as a bit of a ham, someone who was always cracking jokes. Jimmy, however, just yearned for more, and he used to disappear for days at a time. But then, during the summer of 1976, he went to the trouble to announce that he had had enough and he was leaving. This was the last time anyone who loved him saw him. Jimmy did call home when he was 16 once in late summer on August 5th, 1976, to make sure his family knew that he was okay. They reported this was the last call, and they assumed this was shortly before he met evil in the form of John Wayne Gacy. This isn't a video about Gacy. I've been careful just to cover him a little bit when I covered his victims. He's had a lot of press, and he's been covered by a lot more people than me who can do it a lot better than I can. And I have this thing about glorifying serial killers. But what we do know is he preyed on runaways and some LGBTQ kids, especially targeting young men who were hoping to find a job at his construction company. The missing person report filed by his family included a note, "Mother thinks he may be in the company of gays in Chicago." As we all know, being gay in the 70s wasn't as widely accepted as it is now, and it wasn't easy. This channel has covered the yet uncovered victims of John Wayne Gacy, as well as one that was recently identified. But I didn't cover any of the identifications individually. In this case, Jimmy was found inside Gacy's garage in Norwood Park, Cook County, Illinois. He was placed under body number 23, who was quickly identified at the time as Rick Lewis Johnston. Jimmy was wearing a shirt, underwear, and socks, and 2 silver-colored metal chains. Like most of these young men, he had no identification, but they did know that he had a past fracture in his right clavicle that had eventually healed. Jimmy's family was still looking for him, and it was even discussed that he could have been a Gacy victim. But for some reason, dental records weren't yet being used for identification, at least not in this area, and they were unable to determine if he was one of the young Does. So Jimmy's family kept looking for him. Jimmy's mother even went to Chicago and went searching. She loved him and she desperately wanted him back. Jimmy's disappearance went cold, and his brother stepped forward and he wrote a letter to the Chicago Police Department, and he made a plea that they test the DNA. They agreed, following up and taking his DNA, and in July of 2017, Jimmy got his name back. The family shared that the detective came and said, "I regret to inform you that your brother Jimmy is victim number 24 of John Wayne Gacy." It was explained that Jimmy's mother reported him missing September 2nd, 1976. He'd been listed as a runaway. His family said it was good to know what happened, but it still hurt new and in different ways than they expected. It's one thing to suspect he was one of the victims, and another to find out that he was. Gacy was found guilty in 1980 of 33 murders. He was executed at the Stateville Correctional Center in Joliet in 1994. Jimmy Haakenson went unidentified for 38 years. The Cook County John Doe, 2006. The Cook County John Doe was a man who was found inside of a Chicago River channel in Chicago, Illinois. He was found by someone who was canoeing down the channel and spotted him trapped underneath some weeds. Not much is known about the man they found. They knew he was white with brown hair and a beard, and he had a shirt on that said Otter Creek, Alaska, as well as a hat that said Buick. He was 5'10" and 160 pounds. His cause of death is listed as unknown. There are more photos that I've chosen not to show. I don't show postmortem photos on here because it's disturbing and it feels disrespectful to the unidentified person. But if they exist, I tell you, and there is one on this case. The one that includes part of his face is pretty disturbing, so I wouldn't recommend looking unless you think you might know who he is. The photo that I'm talking about can be seen on NamUs, and he's case UP8357. They've estimated that his age is 40 to 55, and if this is correct, his date of birth would be around 1951 to 1966. The Cook County John Doe has gone unidentified for 15 years. Thanks everybody for watching and listening. If you enjoy this channel and haven't yet, please take a moment and hit the subscribe button. Thanks everybody. Take care of yourselves and each other.